been here maybe 2 years ago. It's always good to come back and speak to the group about our latest innovations. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Karishma Lalwani. I've been with Salesforce for over 10 years now and generally been in the CRM space for 2 decades. Right now, I am a senior director in our product organization, and I'm leading the charter of scalability products, some of those which you will see today. And before becoming a product leader, I was actually an architect, boots on the ground, helping our largest customers implement Salesforce solutions. So I come from the field. I've seen these problems firsthand, and whatever products I have built are from the experience that I've had working with these customers. And lastly, I live in Los Angeles. So, quick call out. Some products that I would be talking about are not generally available. So, just a quick forward looking statement over here. And I will be sharing some roadmap as well. So, let's get started on the context of why we are here and what do scalability products do, and what does our team do. When I was in the field, I noticed when it comes to implementing large scale, large data volume, large integration, and users, and in an implementation, it's very difficult to understand how well the system would scale, how well the implementation would scale. And these are some statistics that we ran from our inbound cases, SEV1, SEV0s. And we saw that wherever the case was raised around performance or slowness of a page or someone getting throttled, it was always in production and it was always user impact happened first. Someone on the field saw it, someone from business complained to IT that Salesforce is slow or down. And the reason, the correlation here is that we went back to see the data of how many customers are proactive enough to conduct some kind of performance and scale testing. And the number here is shocking because only 1% of customers actually came to us and said they want a performance test or raised a case to performance test. And that is where I think we need to improve in terms of being proactive to even understand where these bottlenecks are so that we can mitigate these issues. So, talking about a customer scale journey, if we talk about the life cycle of implementation at Salesforce, there are a few trends or challenges that our team saw. The first one during design is we don't have enough patterns or definitions that talk to the architects, developers on how should you even define scale requirements or testing requirements. It's a black box when it comes to cloud applications. When it comes to build, if you're building your Apex in your IDE, in your builders, there is not a lot of information today that is related to hotspots. You're not getting information real time to say, okay, this line of code is not going to scale. You should modify it to rewrite it in a certain way. That intelligence is missing today. For testing, even though you are able to test in a full copy sandbox, there is not a lot of tooling available to explain to you what kind of test scenarios should you be running. How do you go about conducting scale testing? What kind of data you should upload to conduct those tests? And finally, when it comes to extreme scale testing, you're probably not even allowed to do it on a full copy because of a multi-tenancy nature of our infrastructure. Once you deploy the solution, there is very, very limited visibility into what happened if an error occurs. Let's say common errors like Rolocks, concurrent Apex errors. If a user is seeing a concurrent Apex error, they only have to wait till that error goes away. Concurrent threads, concurrent requests, and you can't immediately find out what caused it, or heap size error, or too many sockets error. All these errors you keep seeing, but it takes days and days to triage because you don't have that visibility. And the same thing repeats even after you deploy. All this leads to 47% of critical issues, le- leading to lengthy engagements with Salesforce, high touch engagements. You involve architects, TAMs, support, multiple people from Salesforce product as well as CSG who have to partner and tell you how to get out of that state. So, what our team does is our goal is to shift left. Our team is to go from red to green, to be more preventive, to be more proactive in identifying these issues early on. So, as part of that, it is our vision to make it easy for you to implement your solutions on Salesforce at every step of the way, whether be it in the builder, whether be it in testing, whether be it post deployment monitoring. At every step, we want to offer insights and valuable information to you so that you can make your application scalable. So the first slide I have, the first product is scale testing service. Now this is future forward looking. This is going to be available in Hyperforce. Right now we are in pilot, but it's going to be available end of this year. And basically this is an add-on to a full copy sandbox. It's called scale testing. If you have a full copy, and if you purchase this add-on for certain time windows when you want to be able to scale test, we are going to upgrade our sandbox infrastructure for letting you test at that scale, at that production volume. So, more to come on this, but just a quick announcement that this is one of the gaps today where you're not able to do any kind of load or scale test on our platform. We are now providing you a way to do that. Going to why we are here. So, Scale Center, this is our second product. We went live, we launched this summer to all our unlimited edition and signature customers. That's around 90,000 orgs that already have this. If you are a customer with an unlimited edition org, you have it. If you're a signature customer, you have it. This is our first product focused on application performance management. So when I was talking about giving you that insight into why you hit concurrent apex or why you hit rollock, this is the product that you go to immediately in your setup. It's available in setup. I'll be showing you a demo of how to use it, where you can essentially deep dive into what those errors are and how do you fix them. There are three parts to Scale Center. One is where you actually see the metrics. Second is you can raise investigation and understand further where the hotspots are. For example, which Apex classes are running hot, which database queries should you be optimizing. And the third part, which is where we want to get to, is also provide you recommendations. And some of that you'll see with Apex Guru when I do the demo for that as well. So in terms of Apex Guru, this is the third product. This is in pilot right now. We have around 30 customers going through this product fitment, and Apex Guru is essentially our AI ML feature where through machine learning models, we are feeding the model some anti patterns that we know are not best practices when it comes to Apex coding. And you might argue that this is like code analyzer and you're able to suggest which code is not going to be optimal. But what makes this different is we are not only detecting the anti-pattern, but we are also supplementing the runtime information from our Java runtime at the app layer. So whenever your code is executing, we know at our infrastructure layer how expensive it is in terms of CPU. How many milliseconds of CPU is it consuming? So we are not just telling you which code needs to be optimized. We are also telling you what you should optimize it to be, which is we are going to give you code recommendations. And also we are only going to show you the code that is really making an impact on the app layer. There might be a lot of suboptimal code in your org, but not everything causes a scale risk or a throttle or a heap size issue. Apex Guru will only filter out the ones that are most critical and show that to you all with the goal of optimizing it. So we'll see a demo for this as well. Again, this one is in pilot. We intend to make this generally available sometime next year, so more to come on that. So I know we talked enough about slides. Let's go into demo. This is Apex Hours. Let's go deeper into these products. So this is a sample org. Even if you go to setup, as I said, if you're in customer with unlimited edition, Scale Center should be there already for you. So you just type Scale Center in your search. Under the performance sleeve, this is where you'll see Scale Center functions and features rolled out. The very first place that you want to start with is this org performance page. What you'll see here is as a user, let's say if you hit an error, or let's say if your business calls you, or even if you have conducted performance testing in your sandbox, you want to know what happened, you'll just pick that date and time of when that issue happened. So let's say I picked 26th. Someone in my team told me that they saw some performance error. Let me go and check what happened at that time frame. When I hit submit, this is where my high level performance data will come in real time. So I know I picked 26th, but even if I go to last 4 hours, you will be able to see it. Last 10 minutes, you will be able to see it in your production org. So this is real time information that is coming to you in your org. What you see here is how many successful logins, failures, any Apex errors, UI errors, rollouts. This org has 30,000 rollouts, so we definitely need to investigate what's going on here. And then we also have callout errors here. So as a user, very quickly, you know, okay, there is something that needs my attention, and let me find out what is going on behind the scene. This page also gives you overall performance indications. So these charts that you start with, average request time is basically, it tells you during this time window, what type of traffic was running, whether it was Apex, REST, SOAP, reports, any API requests, visual force remoting. So it's telling you a combination of things that was running. And for each type of record, what is the request time? So the one is red is probably consuming the most time. So I know where to look at. If I go to report, you see that is the one that is spiking. So maybe there was some heavy report activity during this time period. So this is just in terms of request time, but at the same time, volume is another indicator. When is your traffic high? This is when the users essentially know when is their system really busy. We've had customers use this chart to understand when they should deploy their code. For example, if the user activity is low, that's when they select their deployment window. The next chart is app CPU. So based on your volume, how did the app perform? The usual sense is obviously if you have more load, you'll have more app and database time. But there could be anomalies where your request volume is very low, but you're still seeing sudden spikes. Those are the pieces where you need to investigate further to see what can be contributing to that spike. The next chart is login, and then we have errors. So in terms of rollouts, you see this spike, you saw there are 13,000 errors, rollout errors. As a user, your next step would be, let me find out what is happening here. This is when in Scale Center, you can actually select this time window, just drag and select. If I open this drop down, it gives me these options to dig deeper. So because this is about rollouts, I will actually select rollout. But if the spike was around concurrent apex, you would select concurrent apex, for example. So as I select rollock, and if I start the rollock analysis, you will see in the back end, we will start an investigation to understand what caused that spike. So you'll see this error saying, this message saying, see the performance analysis tab to check progress. So when I hit here, this is actually the second tab here. This is the view that will come up. Here is the timestamp that I requested it. So it's 10:15 UTC, 3:15 Pacific, and start time and end time, and you'll see this is in progress. Now it takes a few minutes to come back, but I will take a report that has already been run in the past to show you what that report will bring back. So in this example, this is also a roll lock investigation. This was the spike that we were concerned with. What you see here as part of this analysis is we tell you what was the most locked object. So we know from this report that it was campaign that was locked. Even here in the pie chart, you see 50% of the locks were because of campaign. Next one was because of case, so on and so forth. We also give you the user IDs on what could be causing the roll lock for that error to occur. And then we give you the entry points. So you can filter by runtime to see what was running at that time. Here we know there was an approval email async request. There was something, some batch job running. There was a REST post message. So this is where you see further in your implementation what was running, what could have caused it. Again, our goal is to quickly point you in the direction of where the error might have happened so that you're able to rectify this. If you have been implementing on Salesforce for a long time, you know these issues are not easy to triage, and it takes sometimes days to get you even the first level of information what could be causing. So this is just one example, but going back to this page, if I look at all the types of analysis that you can run, we have around 8 investigations. We have Apex, we have database, flow, governor limits, list view reports, integration, and rollup. All of these that you can understand what is happening behind the scene. So if I go back to this page, I wanted to take one of the consolidated reports that may have run. So let me go to one of the other reports. This is a consolidated report type. And here, if I see, let me show you each and every tab, what it shows. Consolidated is basically all investigations ran at the same time. And you as a user want to quickly understand what's going on in each area of the platform. So when it comes to concurrency, you see we give you a count of how the concurrency was spiking. At a certain point, it went up to 71. We tell you what are the contributors. There was a convert lead transaction, there was contracts, chat API. Similarly, we give you in a tabular format. You can sort these columns based on the database time or the runtime. So because this is Apex, let's look at runtime. You want to see which entry point was contributing to that time. You get the exact entry point here in your code. Same thing with Apex summary. Here you'll get a list of most used classes as well as your slowest classes. So if I want to look at by average runtime, which are my slowest classes, this one comes up, this entry point comes up. How many percentage are slow loads over 5 seconds? This one comes up to 100% of transactions are running over 5 seconds. So we need to look at what is going on. Means each and every request that's fired for this particular entry point is slow. So definitely something that you need to optimize. Apex execution time, CPU time. If there is a call out associated, let's say there's a backend service, you will see that time show up as well. Again, all with the intent of where the performance impact is coming from. If I go to database performance, this is where I was talking about we go down to the SOQL query. So if there was any SOQL that was running at that specific time window that you selected, we will tell you what was the entry point. So we'll tell you the class name. We will give you the exact SOQL that was fired, which was taking tons of database time. And we give you the top 5 or 6. So if I go to the next one and the next one and the next one, you'll see the entry point keeps changing. And this one is a report ID. So means this query is coming from a report versus this one which was coming from an Apex class. This is one of our most powerful and most used features because we are giving you down to the level of the SOQL transaction, which you need to optimize. In the future, we are also going to give you more insights in terms of how do you modify this SOQL, how do you change the filters, what you need to change over here for to make it faster. Maybe you need to cache it. So recommendations in terms of next best action will come into the product as well. If I go down further in the database investigation, I'll see what record types were contributing to the database spike, what type of requests, again, what are the entry points one more time, and then the users. We also give you a split of DML transactions. So whether you are running more updates, inserts, deletes, you'll get a snapshot for that specific time. What is it that the org profile looks like? Failed logins, just the number of logins. Flow, again, one of the most asked features. Here we tell you what type of flow it is, what is the flow prefix, the definition ID, count, execution time. That way you can triage the flow. Governor limits, if they were hit, they will be shown here. So you see there was this one, union not enforced kind of a limit that was hit during this time. We'll show you exactly what limit was hit, when was it hit. There is a consistent pattern here that it's being hit. Integration performances around API, same thing. Entry points, count over 5 seconds, average runtime, so that you can sort it and understand which ones you need to optimize first. And if I go to list view reports, this calls out all the list views that are running hot, greater than 5 seconds. Same thing with report. So this is just the first version of the product, and we are able to give you tons of observability across the product areas to really point you in the direction of optimization. One feature that is also available for you to do is this compare feature. This is when, let's say, you have developed one feature and now you want to see the impact of that feature. You can do something like a baseline comparison where you take before and after snapshot. So let's say you had old code over here, and let me change this. And now you see maybe last week you released something new. You want to see how did that measure, what is the impact of the new code. This is where you do the comparison, and the comparison will basically take these two time frames and tell you exactly what was happening during that time. So it will tell you, rollouts reduced, logins reduced, call out errors reduced. This will basically tell you, okay, maybe the fix worked, maybe your performance has become better. So this is just a quick comparison feature that is available as well. So this is all about Scale Center. Now, I talked about Apex Guru, this part, which I said was in pilot, our AI/ML model. So let me show you that. So if you come to Scale Insights, this is where Apex Guru shows up. So in Apex Guru, this is a little bit of a different model. We will extract weekly reports for you. And as part of this report, whenever this report is created, what you'll get is code recommendations. So here, these are bucketed into three categories: critical, major, minor. So as a developer, you obviously start with the critical ones. What we do is we give you a recommendation in terms of a method that is not well written and is consuming a lot of CPU and memory. We'll tell you the Apex class, we'll tell you the entry point, as well as the code that we are talking about. And then we give you the recommended code that you can copy and plug it into your dev IDEs, implement it, test it. We do that for every type of anti-pattern that we detect. So if you see here, this recommendation is around get global describe and get s describe describe as objects are expensive calls, calling them multiple times uses the CPU. And same way, we give you the recommended code that you can use instead of get global describe. We'll give you the syntax of what that should look like in your code. So this is just critical, same thing we do for major and minor. Now you may ask, what is the difference between, how do we differentiate these? These are dependent on the amount of CPU time that you consume. That's how we categorize them as critical, major, minor. So that is Apex Guru for you. Let me go back. Amit, do we want to pause for questions or should I keep going?
You can keep going.
Okay. So that was it for the demo. In now, the next few items are around just the impact and the roadmap. So, in terms of Scale Center, we've onboarded around 2,500 orgs, and we have users from all countries actually using Scale Center, and the number of investigations generated as part of that. We've seen a good 70% month over month growth in terms of number of customers that are using it. For roadmap, the two products that I mentioned, scale testing in the very first slide, we are targeting to make it generally available in US later this year. And with that, you'll get features like test plan creation. You'll have a way to book slots to get that high scale infrastructure for you to be able to conduct tests. Scale Center is generally available. Apex Guru is in pilot now. And as we broaden the roadmap, we are going to add more insights into Scale Center. We'll add search insights, report insights, where we will tell you exactly what to even do when it comes to report filters. How do you modify the filters so that they run optimal? And we are also looking at a GPT use case for Scale Center where you can have a bot handhold you, or we can have more explainability in the product to really triage and troubleshoot the errors that Scale Center is trying to convey to you. We are also going to do an ISV pilot for Scale Center, so that's coming up too. There was a question, Scale Center is free. So we have rolled it out to unlimited edition and signature customers. So it comes with those license editions out of the box. All right. This is just a quick community link for all our products. If you want to reach out to us, if there is something we can help you with, if you have a question on any of these products, this is where you can go to. It's Scalability. It's called Scalability. It's a Trailblazer community. All right. Back to you, Amit.
Thank you, Karishma, for such a great session. So, one question for Apex Guru, is that available for everyone or only Scale Center is currently available?
Scale Center is available. Apex Guru is still in pilot. So if you want to be part of the pilot, you'll just have to ask your account exec or anybody at Salesforce to nominate your customer, and we will take them up.
Thank you.